Hello and welcome to another TradingTraders.com video. In this particular case, we are looking at the Hope robot on the 5-minute time frame in the dollar yen currency pair. The dollar yen, of course, has been one that's been interesting over the course of 2013 and late 2012, and therefore has been very interesting to watch our robots perform in. This particular uh, signal that comes out is a sell signal as hope for the yen comes back into play. And as you can see, we start to fall right away. We do get a bit of a pullback though, and you have to remember again, this is a 5-minute chart, so these moves aren't nearly as big as they may look. The range that we've traveled in so far as a reference is about 30 pips. So having said that, this pullback's quite natural. The robot knows this, has seen nothing to make it change the parameters of the trade, and we continue sideways for some time here on the 5-minute chart. You can see that the robot has already had you in the trade, and that's the idea. It picks up on these moves before they happen. We start to bring the price down again. We haven't quite broken down completely from the last low, but again, there's no reason to bail on this trade, and as such, the robot is still involved. We have been profitable for most of this trade, and as you see though, the robot has decided that there is more left in the marketplace, or hope that is. It takes profit at 64 pips finally. We go sideways for a while. There's really not a lot going on in the marketplace. The robot therefore stays out, it keeps your capital safe in relatively choppy conditions. A little bit of a pullback has occurred, not enough really to get the robot interested. Fast forward to the next signal, you can see that we had a buy signal here uh, right around the 95.10 level, and we had a bit of a pullback. This pullback formed a double bottom right away, and now it's starting to form a triple bottom. Obviously, a very supportive technical signal. We start to grind our way a little bit higher, keep going higher again, and then what you'll notice is that when we pull back, the robot is not tricked into thinking that the market is going to turn against it. Rather, it still sees the sentiment for what it is, very hopeful in this case for the dollar, that the dollar is going to rise against the yen. We continue higher, and eventually, after a few more retraces, we will break out to new highs. This trade is going strong, and as you can see, we are definitely in profit now, and it only comes down to the area being hit that the market starts to shift its momentum and sentiment, and then of course the robot will take you out. You can see that we have pulled back again, but again, the robot has not seen the proper shift in sentiment, so therefore does not see the need to exit the trade yet. And that's the robot's job. It sees what you can't by using algorithms. It determines what the mood of the market is, essentially, what the risk appetite is. You can see that we've pulled back, but we have not hit stop losses or take profit, and therefore the robot is still in this trade and has not been fooled yet. You can see the stop loss down there, so it does have a hard stop. It continues to grind sideways, and as it often does, the robot has picked up on the sentiment shift much sooner than typical technical analysis would, and therefore you do get a little bit of volatility from time to time like this. But what you'll see as time goes on, the underlying sentiment does continue to the upside, and as we grind higher, you will see that we re-enter profit here soon in this chart, and then we'll continue much higher. At the end of this trade, as we close it out, you will see that the wait definitely has been worth it as we continue higher and higher. And all of this volatility, you have to keep in mind again, this is a 5-minute chart, is something that is very difficult for the average trader to deal with in real life, just simply because of the what appears to be extreme pullbacks and breakouts. But some of these extreme peaks and valleys really are only about 15-20 pips. But there is the psychological difficulty of overcoming what looks like a massive move against you or for you. 69 pips by the time we're said and done. The most important thing, of course, is the fact that the robot picked up on this ahead of time, something that simple technical analysis does not do. As you can see, we continue to go sideways, right around the 96 handle. We start to drift a little bit lower. It's scanning the market the entire time to find out what the sentiment of the market is. Looks for a surge in hope for one particular currency or another, and then it will place the trade based upon that. As you can see, we have just placed a sell signal, and you can see that again the robot is early. That's typical. It picks it up before a lot of the traders actually do, and then we get a sudden, just absolute collapse in price, a spike again, and then a drop yet again. Looking at this chart, you can see that the sentiment is now becoming more and more obvious. But again, the important part is that you, using this robot, were in this trade ahead of time. 68 pips in profit by the time you're done with that particular trade. As you can see, the robot has bought and we have retraced. But again, just like in the past, right before we take off, the robot tends to pick up ahead of time, and that, of course, is its job, the underlying sentiment. At the end of the year, 175% in profits.